Hello, and welcome to Michell Consulting Group webinar series on Mitchell's University. Today we're going to be dealing with Infor FACTS, and we're going to be talking about the security system. This webinar will be recorded. It'll be available on our website. You can download, you can view it on www.mitchellgroup.com. So we're going to start using the Infor FACTS and talk about the security system. So we're going to start here, and let's go to our main menu. And from our main menu, we're going to go into System Management. And in System Management, we're going to look at the security system. Okay, we're going to start with the user codes. Let's do a search. Let's call up this code right here. The first screen is the general information about the code, the name, the menu, the phone numbers, the general setup for salesperson, and so on. What we're going to focus on is the security. So here we can do a password. We have one of ways when creating a new user, we can have the system create a password when they first log in, so it'll actually be able to create their own password. We can set it to clear the passwords and enter our own, or we can generate a password from the system. The valid companies, if we select here, we can see all companies set up. What we can do is create our companies. So, for example, if we had two companies and you want the user only to be involved in company 01, then you just put 01. If you had three companies and you wanted him in, say, 01 and 03, but not company 2, the same thing. You would use the two-digit code down here, so you would put in 0103. We have some other options. We can track the user. Here we can actually see what the user's done, the screens they've gone in, and the time they've been in the screens if we want to track that into a file. We have the required escape code. What this allows you to do is if someone is in the system and they actually get an error, it will require them to enter an escape code to get out of the error. If not, they'll be able to just abort the program. Typically, we set this up for employees to require escape code. This way we don't, if we're in the middle of posting a daily sales register, they can't get out of it when I was checking it. You can also disable the login here if you wish. And here's the security codes, and we'll be spending time on this on another screen. In fact, we have security codes 0 through 9, capital A through Z, and lowercase a through Z. We can control these, and by default, we can set programs to be a security code. An example we'll do later is we're going to set a program to be a security code 9, and then we're going to go to a user and remove the 9, so we can see that. You also have some administrative privileges you can assign to the users. So what you can do is, again, if you want the user to have access to the user-defined fields, to create them, and some of our master records, you can allow them notes, the reports, the executive inquiries. These are not the normal inquiries. These are inquiries that actually allow you to change data as opposed to just viewing, say, open documents. You can do that. Again, you can determine if they can take reports and export to Excel or export to a client. You can set field level settings, how far they can go into each particular field. You can create the file maintenance audits so you can see every time they go change a record and so on. So you have these fields that you can actually set up. We have the user management. The user management, again, allows us to track information about the specific user. We can turn that on, and we can see where the user's been, what he's actually been doing in the system. So again, it's something that you can actually create if you want to use it within the system. We can also do the user tracking inquiries, as we saw within the user code here. You can go into the security and the tracking part. Again, this allows us to have an inquiry screen to see where we've gone. Security code maintenance. Now this one here we can actually use to check the security codes that have been defined. Remember, we have the predefined codes. So we have the 0 through 9, okay, the A through Z, and so on. So what we can do is we can see some security code maintenance. We can actually go in and see the number of users set to specific codes and the place settings. And again, we can analyze, we can change the places, And we can also see the users that are assigned to each code. We also have the security code update. This is a global to allow you to update. Before I go into that one, I'm going to actually go to the security program maintenance and show you how this works. So we're going to pick a program. So we're going to go in and we're going to look at document entry. And we can set a password, or we can put a code. So I'm going to put security code 9 on here, and we're going to set a user not to have access to that. So we're going to go in, we're going to save this, exit, and I have another user here. I have Michell Consulting logged in. So we're going to go into Michell Consulting. Let's go to Accounts Payable. Okay. And we can see that in document entry, we don't have the document entry here because that user has been turned off. So how we did that is we went into the user code. We're going to go here. We're going to take out the 9. So we're going to see here now there's no access to the number 9. We're going to save this. We're going to exit that. I'm going to go back in, go back to the menu to reset. So we're going to go to Accounts Payable, Document Entry, and you can see we don't have the document entry. If we look on the Infor, and we go into Accounts Payable, we can see under document entry, we have document entry, the document adjustment entry, and so on. But if we look here, we don't have that. We've actually taken it off. So we're going to go back in. Call up our program. We're going to remove this. So we're going to leave the security code on there. Well, let's actually remove it so he has access to everything. We're going to remove it. We're going to go back and we're going to reset and see now we have access to the document entry. So here we can open up the document entry because there's no security code. A blank security code indicates that anybody can use it. And again, if we remember, we can see from our user we have taken out the 9. Put the 9 back in. Here we go back. Yeah, we have access to the document entry. We'll show that. So we can also now do that by doing it with the security levels. Then the user will not even have access to it on the screen to see it. You may want to set it up so they can have a password. We can do that within here. And let's call up our program. So we just want to put a password, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll leave the security code off. I'm going to save that. Go back to Michell Consulting. Let's just go out and go back in, make sure we reset. Now when I click on the document entry, it's going to prompt me for a password. I enter the password, and I have access to the screen. So there's a couple ways you can do that with the passwords and security codes. If you want to have a password, because you may have to have somebody get into it from time to time, you can set it up that way. If you want to have it where, let's say I have a person who's not going to do any work in accounts payable, what I can do is just I can eliminate that, and I can go to all his programs and take it off. So let's go back. Again, we see that here. Your security. have everything here. So we can, again, when you do this, normally what I do is with my clients is I set up, like for example, I may use the number 1 for the main accounts payable, and then number 2 for, say, accounts payable document entry, number 3 for checks, and so on. So I can set it up that way, or I can just go ahead and put a password. Now to do that, if you don't want to do an individual program one at a time, you can actually use a global way of doing it. So if we go here to security code update, so if I go to the program code, for example, and I look, and we're going to see, so we have document entry, which is APE 110, and then we have, let's say, the document adjustment, which is APE 120, and we want to take those 2 off. So instead of going in one at a time, by doing it here, what I can do is then I can go this one here, and I can say beginning with APE 110 to APE 120. And I can say security code 9, security code 9, do all. We can update that. Now we go back and we look at our security code maintenance. This one here. We'll go to our security code. We can set on this one. And we can set our codes. So it gives the ability of actually doing it into a variety of systems and orders. We can also, in that same program, you can set it for be terminal driven. Limit by location. Okay. You can enter here. We don't have any locations set up, but what we do is we actually go in and we can actually go to specific locations. So if we have multi-locations, we can actually set it in here. You can also do an audit file. We can track, again, how many times they've tried to get in and out of the program. So this is the ability of doing it that way. Exit this. We have the escape code generator. This is for, again, when we set up in the security. Remember how we set a user? And within that user, we require escape code generator here. If we're actually going to get an error in the software, then we can use the escape code generator to actually create the escape code. That would be here. What we do is on their terminal with the error, they would hit E for escape code. You would actually enter the escape code. This fax will generate corresponding user escape code, which we can then give back to the user and set back. So again, to recap, let's go through the process so we can see what we saw. We started off with the actual user code. And on our security tab, we have some options that we can do. We can set up to have a password, not have a password, have the system generate the password as we go through it. We can create the valid companies. So if we're dealing with multi-companies, we can allow a user to be in company 1 or company 2, depending what we do. We can actually go in and we can track the user. So we can set it up, see exactly which user they're doing. So we can track all their information. We can require an escape code. This again allows us when we do get an error, which is very important. We recommend on all the users that are not, say, a super user or manager to require escape code. Because if somebody gets an error saying doing the daily sales register, you don't want them to abort out of the program while files are being updated. So we'll stop them, allow them to go in, see what's going on, and set the system. We have our security codes, which is the heart really of how the security works. We have codes 0 through 9, capital A through Z, and lowercase a through Z. Each one of these codes can be associated with a program, and then by removing the code from the user, he does not have access. So we'll do the demonstration again. We'll use security code 9. We'll set programs up for security code 9, and then we'll remove them from the user, and they will no longer have, not have access to the program, you will not see the program actually on the screen. So we can see here, we'll go into again, we'll remove the 9. We'll save, exit. So we can see here, right now we go to accounts payable. Michell Consulting has access to the document entry because we haven't set it. We're going to go back. We're going to go to screen here. We're going to go select our document entry. Let's remove the password for now. Let's go ahead and put the security code. So now I'm going to put a 9. Again, if it's blank, they can access all the programs, but the minute I put a 9, whoever does not have the 9 will not be able to access the program and even see it on the menu. So we're going to save that. We're going to exit. We're going to go back to our Michell Consulting. We're going to go out of the program to reset. We're going to come back in, and you see we don't have the document entry. And when we click it, we don't have it here, as opposed to the other menu that has the document entry. Look at these two screens. We can see here. What we can also do is go in and remove that and use a password. So we're going to go to System Management, Security Systems, call up our program, and run that. Remove the 9, and now we're going to go ahead and put a password. We'll save that. Now I have a password on there, so when we go into Accounts Payable, and we go into Document Entry, we're now prompted for the password. So it's recommended we use passwords on the main menus. So obviously setting up, we would want to put a password on our main program for system management. So we may have a password here for system management, and then corresponding passwords for each one of these security systems. And again, you can do here security code update. You can just do a global function. Right? You can actually select a beginning and ending program. Determine if you want to update everything, or you can deselect the ones you want, and you can actually do your security codes. And this will run a global program. What that allows me to do is, instead of going in here one at a time, I could still go here. And I can do this one, and I can just do document entry, document adjustment, and so on through the list, or I can do it as a global section. So that's how the security system and Infor FACTS works. Again, to recap, from our main menu. We go into System Management. In System Management, we go to Security System. We have our user code file maintenance. Here we can set up users. Okay, for the first time. On the Security tab, we can create a password here as we enter. We can have the system clear and force a new password when they first log in. We can have no password. And we have the system just generate a password. The valid companies, the companies are set as 2 digits. So we can say all companies or determine which companies we want to have access to for this user. And we can track the user. We can track his how long he's been in a program, the programs he's been in, and there's an inquiry screen that shows that. Require escape code. This we recommend for all users. This will allow them not to get out of any type of errors on the screen, especially update errors. It will require a code. We can do a login disable, and that person no longer is here, so we just want to disable the login for now. Maybe we want to use it at a future event, so we can just disable it. We have our security codes. We use 0 through 9, capital A through Z, and lowercase a through Z. This allows a lot of flexibility within the system. So we can assign security codes to programs or many programs. Typically, we want to have some type of order to that. So, for example, maybe all the capital A's would be for accounts payable, all the capital B's will be for the receivables, and so on, and we can set it up. The administrative privileges, again, you can determine if they can user-defined fields, if they can do notes, they have access to reports, editing reports, executive inquiries. Again, these are inquiries that deal with actually modifying data. You want the user to be able to export reports to Excel. You want them to be able to export to a file, okay, a flat file on the actual PC. The field level settings, how deep you want to go within the system for setting up purposes. You want a file maintenance audit. We can check what you're doing within the file maintenance screen. We have electronic funds transfer if we want to do that. The approve price contracts and the view the GL postings. Again, this is all set up within the user itself. Again, user management. We can track kind of an inquiry screen, see what's been done. We can view all the information about the user. The track user inquiry. Again, this is the inquiry screen, so you can go in and if we track a user so we can see how many times that user's been in a particular program. We can do that. Security code maintenance. If we want to remove a security code or do it, replace it, or see what users are tied to it. Again, so you can see this is security code 7 here. You can see all these users and all the corresponding security codes. So, for example, like Infor has access to all the codes, and you can see here this user, Danielle, has access through these codes right here. You can do a global update by picking a beginning and ending. So in the case that I would decide to make my accounts payable programs a certain code, I could do all the accounts payable programs, or maybe I want to do under accounts payable, the document entry section, the check section, the report section, and so on. I can do global. Be very careful when you do a global update. You should back up the system first, because if we make a mistake, you can change everything in the system. Program security maintenance. Again, this is the heart of what we've been looking at. Again, you would select your program. You can give it a password. You can give it a security code. You can limit it by locations. If you have locations set up or branches set up within your demo or your program, you can go ahead and do that. You can enter the specific locations they want, and you can create an audit file. And the escape code generator, if you have someone set up for that, you can have it set up for an escape code generator. So that concludes today's session on Infor FACTS security. This broadcast is being recorded. It'll be on our website. You can watch this on our website at www.michellgroup.com. And once again, we thank you for your attention.